Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Yordenis Ugas versus Shawn Porter. It was a split decision. It was a great fight. And I have to say that Yordenis Ugas was robbed in this fight. And I have to be honest and unbiased. If we look at the fight and the way it played out, when you look at a lot of things, you look at Shawn Porter's game plan, it was the worst game plan he could have implemented, because basically it allowed Yordenis Ugas to utilize his reach for the entire fight. So the entire fight, Yordenis Ugas was able to use his reach as a stylistic advantage against Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter was fighting on the outside a lot and coming in, running a lot. Yordenis Ugas looks like, at a point where he may have been hurt by a shot in the 11th round, at the end of the 11th round. But at the beginning of the 11th round, it looks like Yordenis Ugas rocked Porter with a hard shot. It also looked like Shawn Porter may have been dropped, but they ruled it off. They waved it off. But that's a little off. But I have to be honest and unbiased and tell you that Yordenis Ugas won this. At least, if I have to be real, it was a very close fight. It was a very interesting fight. But, at least by 2 or 3 rounds. And I think that's being very generous to Shawn Porter. So I'm going to say at least 2 or 3, but I feel like it's at least 4 rounds. And I'm just going to be honest and unbiased when I say it, that Shawn Porter didn't do enough tonight. Shawn Porter backed up the whole night. Shawn Porter had a couple rounds where he was very aggressive, but Shawn Porter's game plan tonight should have been to be extremely aggressive. I believe Yordenis Ugas needs a rematch. I believe the judges were just way off on this one. This makes no sense. This is why people get upset with boxing, because you see things like this, and this is robberies. And I understand that Shawn Porter's the champion. I understand that. But you have to understand that he did not do enough to win this fight. He just clearly didn't. Yordenis Ugas was brilliant tonight. His defense was on point, and he won the rounds that he won clearly and precisely. I think the Fox broadcast was terrible. If you look at, Marcus Villegas, and I like Marcus Villegas, but I have to be honest and unbiased, his scorecard was off. He gave Porter a lot of early rounds that didn't even belong to Porter. And so I have to be honest and unbiased. Yordenis Ugas looked good pretty much the entire fight. He had rounds here and there where he looked bad, and not even that bad. Like, he would have lost, but not far apart. Those would have been close rounds. That would have been swing rounds. That would have been hard to judge, hard to call. That could have went either way. So I'm okay with, a few rounds. But Yordenis Ugas won this fight clearly, in my opinion. I don't see how anyone could see it any other way. And if you did, you're being extremely biased. And I think, at this point, you see this a lot from the PBC cards from now on. When you look at Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, when you look at that particular decision go the wrong way, now you see Yordenis Ugas and you see this, decision go the wrong way. It just makes no sense. It's been a great match between Shawn Porter and Yordenis Ugas, but Yordenis Ugas is just a much better boxer, better technically sound. He's a top level fighter at the welterweight division that could pretty much give a lot of guys a lot of problems. He's a true competitor at this point in this division, and people don't give him the credit now because they're looking at Shawn Porter as the winner when Yordenis Ugas clearly won this fight. Yordenis Ugas showed us how talented and skilled he was, and I had a lot of skepticism about Yordenis Ugas. I initially picked Shawn Porter to win this fight, and I thought Shawn Porter would win based off the merits of, him having a great game plan. You don't box the boxer, you brawl the boxer. You don't brawl the brawler, you box the brawler. You do what these guys are not tailor-made for. So you make these guys uncomfortable. That should have been the game plan all night. Shawn Porter did not do that. Shawn Porter went away from that, and Shawn Porter was beaten tonight. And it was clearly and effectively by Yordenis Ugas. This should not have even been a split decision. This should not have been a close fight for anyone to judge. If you're being honest and unbiased with the scorecards, they were giving Shawn Porter rounds just for the simple fact that he was the champion, just for the simple fact that he was a big name. I've been noticing these robberies again and again with Showtime, and I don't understand why. Not Showtime, but, the PBC. So PBC fighters tend to get this, and I understand if Shawn Porter would have lost this fight, this would have left a big hole. They would have killed a lot of the big fights that people wanted to see, like Porter versus Pacquiao, Porter versus Spence, Porter versus Thurman. But at the end of the day, we have to be unbiased, and I think Yordenis Ugas can beat any of those guys, or also they can beat him. I think Yordenis Ugas is better than Shawn Porter at this point. He proved tonight that he was better than Shawn Porter, and he was robbed of the opportunity to be a world champion for the first time in his career. They robbed this man of being a world champion tonight, and if we're being honest and unbiased, that should be rectified. There needs to be a rematch. He won this fight clearly and concisely. There needs to be a huge uproar, and there needs to be many people that come out and speak on this to make sure that rematch happens, because Shawn Porter should not move on to another title fight against another top level fighter, because at the end of the day, Yordenis Ugas was robbed. Yordenis Ugas needs to have this made up to him. This guy did enough to win, and he did more than enough. He won a lot of rounds, the way that you expect a guy to win rounds, clearly, concisely. That's what you need. You don't need anything else other than that. And at the end of the day, Porter got, countered the entire fight. He ran the entire fight. He didn't deserve the win. Shawn Porter lost this fight. And I'll repeat it. Shawn Porter was countered beautifully. Yordenis Ugas' defense was immaculate, and he ran the entire fight. He didn't deserve the win. He lost this fight, and the fact that they gave this guy this fight is embarrassing to boxing. That is a damn shame. Yordenis Ugas won that fight, and it wasn't even close. But once again, Unbiased, as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.